Welcome everyone. We're going to begin this practice sitting. And as you get settled in your seat, start to notice the quality of the ambient light in the room where you're practicing. Is the light bright? Is it candlelight? Is it warm or a cool tone? So often we're just rushing from task to task that we don't stop and really pay attention consciously and be present in the moment. So this is a simple technique we'll do just for one more breath to help us become more aware of where we are now. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes, or maybe you stay with that soft gaze instead. It's very common to be a little bit dissociated or disconnected, and whether that comes from just being so busy or being so up in the head in a work task, or perhaps it's from a traumatic experience where it was just too much to handle. So start to bring attention down into your body. And I want you to feel the points of contact underneath you, whether that's your feet, your knees, your hips. Release your weight into that foundation. And give yourself a nice full inhale and a satisfying exhale. Then begin to blink your eyes open. We're going to do a little bit of play with the feet. So take a foot, it doesn't matter which one, and if this is easy to do sitting on the floor cross-legged, to stay here. You could also sit on a bench or a chair and bring one leg up. So see if you can grab your foot with both hands and stretch or pull. So if I showed it to you this way, you would grab the edges and pull apart. And then begin to wave your foot. So you're taking the two sides and moving them in opposite directions, pulling back and forth. And you can do this with your foot in front of you as well. It's just a little bit harder to relax your foot there. The feet are often forgotten until they hurt, of course, and then that's all you can think about. Okay, this is just to start opening up the feet, but also to use this tactile sense of the hands and maybe a little pressure of like a mini self-massage to get awareness down into the body instead of just up into the head. Let's switch feet. I mean, obviously your head is part of your body, but what I mean is less the thinking brain and more like the feeling body. So again, you're gonna hold on either side of your foot. You can do that from any orientation that works for you, and then stretch laterally, like pull the big toe side one way, the pinky toe side the other way. I'm just kind of clamping onto the ball of the foot. And then begin to wave them in opposite directions. So you're pushing one side forward and pulling the other side back and forth a little bit. And you know, you're not trying to like break your foot or anything. Just to feel some movement between those bones, to bring some sensation and even a tactile sense through the hands of the fact that you have feet. They're still attached, even though you might not be thinking about them lately. Okay, so we're going to continue to work with the feet, but standing. So if you're sitting on a blanket or a prop, move that to the side. And it's possible you might want to block later. Just set it to a side now. And then stand at the top of your mat in Tadasana. Let's do Tadasana in sort of a neoclassical version. So that means like hip width apart as opposed to toes touching. And then lift your gaze for a moment and feel your footprints. So that bottom part of your feet, that foundation, and compare one foot to the other foot. So I want you to notice something like maybe, does one foot feel bigger on the floor? Like my right foot feels narrower and like less of the foot is touching the ground. Or maybe you notice that one feels heavier, like it's reaching into the ground more. See if you can make that a little bit more even. And begin to actively push down into your feet. Push down in particular at the center of your heels. And on the inner and outer edges, the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound of the ball of the foot. Keep doing that and take your arms overhead. So Tadasana is the foundation for all the standing poses, and your feet are the foundation of Tadasana. So what are they doing? What's happening in your body even when your arms are overhead? Exhale, fold forward, and now look at your feet. First of all, maybe check that they're lined up with each other. You don't have one ahead of the other or doing something random that you didn't mean. And while you're still looking at them for just a brief interlude, lift the toes and push down into the balls of the feet. So see when you do this how the center of your arch lifts up. You can bend your knees if that's helpful for you. So keep the arches lifted, this kind of sucking or pulling up at the high point of the center of the foot, and then release your toes and try not to collapse there. Now, obviously we're intersecting, the thinking brain is executing these functions, but we're really trying to also feel. So feel that reference point you found earlier when you were in Tadasana. Is one foot bigger, heavier, smaller? And then put your fingertips on the ground or on your block and push into the ground. You can also put your hands on your shins and elevate the chest and head until the arms are straight. Just pause there, gazing out in front of the feet in your long spine position. Re-engage awareness in your feet, coming back consciously into the body and the ground on which you stand. Exhale, fold in. Again, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Lengthen right the way through the neck. Exhale, fold. And as you do this last pass one more time, what's happening with your weight in your feet? Is it shifting forward, backward, right, left? Exhale, bow. You can slip your hands to the back of your calves, give a little tug, pull in slightly deeper. Push down into your feet. Inhale, open the arms to the sides, stand up. Reach overhead, but stay grounded, connected down in your body, not just up in your brain. Exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. Lift the toes, lift the arches, but keep the center of the heel, big toe mound, pinky toe mound down. Stretch through the toes, release them back to the earth. Exhale, drop the hands. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Take a peek if you need to with your eyes. Just see that your feet are doing what you think they're doing. Sometimes they have a mind of their own. Just once now, inhale to a long spine. And when you exhale, step back with your left foot into a lunge. Push through the left heel, right at the center of your heel. At the same time, there's this feeling of the arch of that left foot staying toned, almost like the skin on a drum. It's kind of taut and pulling up. Two kind of opposite actions. Square that right hip, tuck it in. And now exhale, drop the left knee right down below the hips. On the in-breath, take your arms all the way up overhead. On the exhale, lean just ever so slightly back. Lift your gaze. Bring the right hand down, side bend to the right. You can touch the floor, a block, or even put your hand on your hip. Bow forward and place your hands down. You're going to pick your back foot up, step forward, place it next to the left. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, push the fingertips down, come up just halfway or so with the spine, elongating, lifting the pit of the stomach to support the low back. Exhale, step back right foot, long lunge, back knee up. And see if you can translate this Tadasana foot to the right leg. Sole of the foot working same as when you were standing. Arch of the foot is toned. Center of the heel is pushing back. While you hold, soften the eyes. Notice the quality of light where you are so that you stay present both in your surroundings and with yourself. Drop your knee. Inhale, upright, arms overhead. Pause. A slight back bend. Really, it's more up than back. Try not to crunch in the low back. Just really lift up, maybe lift the gaze. So drop your left hand now. Side bend to the left. Put both hands back down. Step the right foot up to match the left. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, rise. As you come up, what's happening in your feet? How can you stay in your body instead of dissociating or disconnecting? Bring your hands down in front of your heart. Just pause. Quite normal for this to happen. For one, we're a very busy culture at this point. Well, all humans really. So the thinking brain is being bombarded a lot with screens, work tasks, noise. And that can often just pull us up out of the physical body. So feel your foundation, feel your feet. Feel the texture of your mat or whatever you're standing on. And now you're feeling your body. Soften your gaze. See if you can also see out into the periphery of the room where you are now. Exhale, drop your hands. Inhale, sweep them overhead. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, long spine. And then repeating from here, you're going to step left foot back. And this time you're going to spin that heel on a diagonal. Windmill up to warrior two. Now, as you come to warrior two, see if your feet can do that Tadasana work. Lift your toes, lift the arches, stamp down into the center of your heel and the two big toe mounds, the base of the ball of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe on the ball of the foot. Then stretch the toes, stretch your arms. See if you can bend a little deeper in the right leg without collapsing your feet. We're building the whole pose from the feet up, lifting the soles of the feet right in the center of the arches and stamping down the other 3 points. Okay, lean to the right, put your forearm on your thigh, stretch your left arm alongside your ear for side angle pose. I would prefer that you go less deep in the side bend, less deep in the knee bend, and more attending to what's happening in the feet. Give it one more breath. We're going to turn to the floor, exhale, left hand down. Step forward, match the left foot to the right. Bow in. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Push down into the fingers, the shins, or the block. Please step back with your right foot. Nice long lunge to start. Pull that right heel around and place it on the ground. Then cartwheel the torso upright into warrior two. Stay a little bit higher right now. It's a little easier to kind of like suck up the soles of the feet when you're not really deep in the pose. When I say suck up the soles of the feet, I mean the center of the arch. For me, lifting the toes helps. We don't want to just walk around with our toes up. It's just a teaching tool. So now put the toes down, see if you can keep that. Stretch your arms. Now experiment with going deeper in the knee bend and not losing that. So for me, this is my harder side, the right leg is the one that feels smaller, and I lose that connection as soon as I go deep. So you'll see that I'm much higher than what a lot of yoga pictures look like this pose is supposed to be like. So feel your feet. My eyes start to go all around the room when I'm checking in with what's happening down there. So that might be something you do too. Lean over to the left, put your forearm down, take your right arm alongside your ear. Go less deep in favor of staying consciously connected to your foundation. Dissociation, disconnection is a tool a lot of us have used to survive hardship also. This may be a pattern that's been going on where when something is too much, we just check out. So today, use these tools. Feel your feet. Activate your feet. Notice where you are. Turn back to the floor. Take the right hand down. Step forward, right foot. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise. Take the arms overhead. Stay aware of your foundation. Bring your hands down in front of your heart. Pause here. We often skip mountain pose. This is a whole pose, a really profound pose, just learning how to stand up on our own 2 feet and be present. Okay, drop your hands. Open the arms to the side like wings. Squat. Take chair pose. Which foot tries to bear more weight? Can you make that more even? Lean your butt back. Get a little more weight into the center of your heels. Lift the left foot. Slide the left knee over the right. Squeeze your foot to your outer ankle or wrap your foot around. Right elbow on top of left, eagle arms. Bring them up, hook your hands. If you fall out of it, don't worry, I just did. Not the end of the world. All right? Resiliency is about how we come back after it's hit the fan, you know? Can you come back to being grounded? Can you come back in your body after you've disconnected? Now, when you come out, we're gonna balance on the right foot. Swing the arms out to the sides, kick the left foot up, just pause there. You can also bend your knee if it's too much with the leg straight. Now we're gonna go balancing still, warrior 3. We're gonna take the left foot back, bring the hands by the sides, and then we're gonna go to warrior 1 with the leg. So bend your right knee, put your left toes on the ground, step that foot back a little, keep pointing your hips forward, and begin to drop your left heel, drive the heel, left heel toward the floor on a diagonal, but try not to flatten that arch. Arms are kind of out by the side, torso's leaning forward on a diagonal. How can you get that left heel to the floor without collapsing in the left arch? Now reach the arms forward, scoop the tail under, begin to roll the spine up, Virabhadrasana 1. Again, you might be higher than normal so that you're protecting the support of the foundation, not collapsing, not dumping, not checking out. Collapse, immobilization, freezing, being stuck. These are the signs that we've had too much, too fast, and we've checked out. Release the hands. Simply step forward and put your left foot next to your right and pause. Line your feet up with each other and catch your breath in Tadasana. See if your right and left foot feel different than they did before. Arms to the sides for balance. Utkatasana, chair pose. Ut means intense. Ut. Maybe we should all start chanting that when things are getting too much. It's just another way to not check out. Ut, ut, ut. Squat down. Heels bear some weight. Arches are trying to stay lifted. Take the right knee over the left. Hook the foot around or squeeze it to the outer ankle. If the balance is hard, tippy toes can go on the floor. Left elbow on top of right. Bend the elbows, clasp the hands, or hold your shoulders. Squat deeper. Feel that left heel. Push it down. Stay present. I know it's hard. When we come out, we're going to balance. Arms swing wide. Right foot kicks forward. Pause. Temporary pass through warrior 3. So the hands are going to come out by the hips, kind of palms down by your sides. Right foot elevates a little. We're just going to pass through it. Bend the left knee, touch the tippy right toes to the floor. Step that right foot back another foot or so. Torso is going to stay leaning slightly forward. You're going to turn that right heel slightly in toward the midline and start to play with how you can drop that heel without just crumpling the arch toward the floor. So imagine you had like a marble under the sole of that foot, right in the middle, and you're going over it to get your heel to the floor. And again, this is my tight side. It's really hard for me to get that heel down. So keep your torso leaned forward. That might help. You can always stay in that position with the chest forward and the arms back by the sides. If you prefer, sweep the arms out in front of you. Scoop your tail down, squeeze your glutes, that's your butt muscles. Zip up through the spine. Take your arms up. Stay as high as you need to not lose this conscious presence in your pose. We're not doing this habitually. We're doing it with presence, with awareness, and feeling. Release the hands. Step the right foot forward next to the left. Regroup in Tadasana. And then inhale the arms overhead once more. Pause there. Feel your heels. Often people rock their weight onto the balls of the feet here. Some people even lift their heels clear off the ground. Exhale, forward fold. I believe that that's a bit of a nervous tick. Or maybe just a little bouncing way to be ready for whatever they fear might be coming. But it's not necessarily a stable way to be ready. From your forward fold, one more time, put your fingertips on the floor, on your block, on your shins, push into the surface, lengthen your spine, even your neck, out through the crown. And then put your hands flat and step yourself into downward facing dog. You can see your feet now. So lift your heels just a little bit of a bend in the knee. Pull the center of the soles of the foot up. Dome it up toward your knees, creating a little bandha or a lock there. And then start to roll over the lifted arches, dropping the heels to get the legs to straighten again. Don't go so straight that you lose it. Hold where you are. Soften your face. Soften your eyes. What's happening around you? What's happening inside you? Are those two a match for each other? Or are you reacting in an inappropriate way? I shouldn't say it like that. I don't mean it that way. Are you reacting in a way that doesn't meet the circumstance? If so, just take note of that. Maybe it's something from another time or place that's triggered you. All right, drop your knees. Come into child's pose. And the sense of trauma, the nervous system, it doesn't think right, wrong, appropriate, inappropriate. It just responds. So if it's not matching, if your feeling tone is not matching the environment, it's an interesting thing to notice and try to not judge. Come up to sitting. I'm even still trying to adjust my framework, right? That language, it's so pervasive. Like, is this an appropriate response? It's just a response. Okay, put the feet out in front. Place the hands by the hips and sit up with your spine tall. The feet and legs are in Tadasana, even though they're bent at the hips. So activate your feet, spread your toes, push through the heels, push through the balls of the feet. Keep the arches a little bit aware and awake. Good, relax your effort. Take your left knee out to the left and pull it back to the side. We're going to turn a little bit toward the left now. Take the right hand to the inner right leg. Open the chest toward the left. Sweep your left arm up. Side bend right on down. Maybe take your left arm overhead. So when we're sitting, the foundation is bigger, right? It's not just your feet, now it's your legs, your hips. So bring some attention to those contact points. Back of the right leg, straighten your leg, try to push more of the leg down. And now left hip, that tends to be light here. Can you root that into the earth? It's not going to be as heavy as the right because you're leaning to the right, but just try to bring some awareness there, some weight there. Come back up, please. And change legs. Twist a little bit to the right. Put your left arm somewhere against the inside of your leg. And begin to side bend down the left leg. Take your right arm up. You can leave it upright if you want, or start to reach overhead as if to reach out toward your left foot. Notice where the weight has gotten lighter in your foundation and where it's more heavy or more stable. Just attending to the foundation, just paying attention to where you are and what you're doing is going to help you be less in your thinking brain. Thinking brain isn't bad. We need the thinking brain, but we just spend too much time there often. So we want some in the body. And come on up. Okay, stretch your feet back out. And then if you have a block, grab that. If you don't, you could use a pillow or a blanket or something. We're just going to do a supported bridge pose. So you're going to lie down. You're going to have that prop nearby. Excuse me, that was kind of loud. And we're going to make the entrance active, and then we're going to put the brick or the prop underneath. So once you're here in your reclining pose, put your feet flat on the ground, and then you can use your inner eye to feel, what are your feet doing? Can you make them even with each other as best you can without looking? And can you make sure there's some weight on the inner edges, not just the outer edges? Stamp down into the heel, the center of the heel, not at the very back, but like kind of closer to the middle of the heel. Big toe side of the ball of the foot, pinky toe side of the ball of the foot. Push into those points, lift your hips. Push back with your upper arms, curl the chest open. As you stamp down in your feet, squeeze your butt muscles, drive your hips up. Hold here. Take a breath. Feel the feet again, just making sure they haven't wandered out of your awareness. And then you're gonna find your prop, slip it under at an appropriate height, and park your tailbone on it. And you want to make sure that when you're on it, you don't have to really work too much to stay on it. If it feels like you're going to fall off of it, you might need a more stable prop or a different height. Okay, push into the feet, lift your hips, take out the block or whatever's there, and just bring yourself all the way back to the ground. Pull the hips away, get some length in the low back. Decide if you need to give yourself a little longer. Let's take the knees in toward the chest. Give a little squeeze. And now we're going to twist them over to the right. Let's press down with the right hand on the left knee and roll the left shoulder back. Come through center with your legs. Take them left. Anchor the right knee with your left hand and press the right shoulder back. Go center again. Hold your knees. Wrap your arms around one or both. One in each hand, or hold them both at the same time. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then stretch your feet all the way out on the ground. And while you find your way into Shavasana, your corpse or resting pose, let's just give a little attention to how the back of the body is contacting the floor. Again, continuing to release the weight into the foundation, which is the entire back of the body, all the points touching the earth. So we're working with the eyes just a little today, seeing perhaps the ambient light, but if you have your eyes closed, most people do in Shavasana, maybe you notice what the light or shadow or whatever is happening behind your closed eyes looks like. If your eyes are open, you can still find that quality around you in the room. Just begin to gradually increase your breath. Wiggle the feet, the hands. Reawaken in whatever way is intuitive to you. Roll to either side, pausing in something like the fetal position just as a transitional posture. And roll back up to sit. As we close practice, I want to leave you with this. The next time that you feel disconnected or you're out of sorts, I want you to notice what that feels like or where you feel it in your body. I want you to become familiar with the signals that your body is sending you when your brain is not connected to it, when your brain is off somewhere else and you've dissociated either because you're busy or because a past experience has been triggered in your nervous system. For instance, I worked with someone many years ago, but she would trip. Like without fail, she would like fall off of a sidewalk curb or bump into furniture. And that was for her like the dead ringer sign, like, oh yeah, totally not in my body right now. So as you become more familiar with what your signposts are, this will help you catch when that's beginning to happen. And maybe you have a reason, a very valid reason to feel that way. Or if it's a mismatch for the environment, maybe it can help you check why, how, what's going on, and to just be with that experience. That's really our goal, is to just stay with it, to stay with ourselves through whatever is coming. So let's finish our practice now. Thank you for staying with me to the end with one more breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. I so appreciate you being here and doing this work with me. I appreciate your subscribing here on YouTube or being a patron on Patreon. Anything you can contribute is appreciated. I'll see you next time.